morning on Starbies.
Hey, Browne with an E. Sometimes they leave off the E. I've gotten off a couple of speeding tickets for that. I said, all right, for the record. They said, we don't have you, Mr. Browne. I said, okay. So, look, a lot to talk about today. Our salute today to a town, real town, Alabama. Y'all all know where it is. It's outside of Notasulga, Lochapoka, Macedonia, and Tallahassee. You know where that is. I mean, I know Ellis Johnson knows where it is. Hello, real town, Alabama. But speaking of reels, I got to tell you, our executive producer, Brendan Martin, works his ass off. You will not find anybody better. Nope. He puts out these reels. He put about 15 out the other day. It's the content from these shows and our great guests. Share us and like us. Do us a favor. Take a picture with your phone. Be cool. Take a picture of the QR code. We're broadcasting live. Think about this. Live on 8 channels of Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Y'all all, so many of y'all know me. You're my friends. I love y'all. Share us and like us. It means more than the world to us. It's like if I had a restaurant, please come eat at my restaurant.
Yeah, Rob really sucks at social media. So if you guys could help him out and like just share the shows, because we got to get it out there. And Rob's network of people is massive. You're a huge group of people. So help us help you, like and share. You know what the deal is. It helps us bring this content for free, and it gives us an opportunity not to have a real job. So let us continue to just talk sports to you every single day, and we'll be happy. So click on our stuff. And
we're going to get after it. And look, we got a great lineup today. Coach Ellis Johnson has a national championship ring from Alabama. Also played for one at Auburn. Took South Carolina to their best 4 years in memory. Coach Pete Cordelli's got him a national championship ring from Notre Dame. Coached with Lou Holtz for 14 years. One of the smartest quarterback and offensive minds around. Proud native son of Neshaminy, PA. And, of course, Ellis from Winsboro, South Carolina. And when Dave Bartoo joins us from Forest Grove, Oregon, right outside of Portland, y'all don't know where that is, near the Pacific Coast, we got a lot of football to talk about. Already the questions are coming in. Doug Dean, one of our show partners on the Friday Roundtable, and anytime he can come on, he's incredible, said, ask Ellis, Pete, Dave, whoever, what about the average age of the Indiana football team is 22.5 years of age, and the average age of the Philadelphia Eagles / Georgia Bulldogs is 24. So, Jason Caldwell, you know him, Ellis, you know him, Pete, Auburn Undercover, said on the show the other day, he goes, you know what? Old is better. And I get really mad when people say, oh, I'm too old. Nobody listens to me. Let me tell you something. No, you get better like a bottle of wine if you take care of your brain. And y'all are two of the smartest people I know. Can y'all talk about that Indiana? Because along the way to the top, people are going to tell you it can't be done. They're going to line up on both sides of the street. Here's what I believe. Treat the word impossible as motivation. Ellis, talk about that age factor, and then we'll go to Pete, and Dave will join us soon from Oregon.
I guess y'all saw, maybe saw what I saw. I was on one of the social media things. Somebody sent it to me, and it had every age of all the starters on both sides of the ball. And, I mean, nobody was under 21 years old. There were some 25-year-old kids in there, and maybe even older. And then it had that stat you said, the one that was on this one was that they were average age is 23, and the average age of the Green Bay Packers is 25. But that's the one that somebody sent me. I guess it snuck up on everybody because of all the hoopla with the NIL and the portal going on and kids coming and going and leaving and help going out early to the NFL. What's amazing to me about that, there's no question in my mind it helps. No question in my mind. I'm not saying it's the biggest factor, but it just amazes me how he's been able to hold that many kids in his program for that length of time. And maybe got some of them out of the portal too. But it's an amazing stat, I think.
It really is. Would you send that to me? I love to study numbers. Yeah. I also want to say hello to Casey Goodjohn. Love this guy. Met him surf fishing in Orange Beach a couple of years ago. 20-year Marine recruiter. He said the guys he recruited to the Marine Corps always are glad to hook back up with him and tell him how much fun they had at boot camp. And anyway, he is watching today from Eglin Air Force Base, lives out in Texas, Cleveland County. Pete, talk about that age factor. And it's, to me, a sign maturity, wisdom, and experience are becoming even more valuable.
No doubt about it. And the biggest thing is that this is a plan. Coach Signetti, there's a great article on ESPN, came out, I believe, Friday. Signetti is doing exactly what Saban did. Nick Saban, as long as I've known him, and I'm talking about back when he was an assistant coach at Navy, when he went to Ohio State. He was at Ohio State 1 year with Earl. And Nick Saban's never offered a scholarship to somebody he hasn't personally seen work out. Signetti's done the same thing. He, as he said, I'm the GM. I run my own program, and he brought 16 guys with him from James Madison to Indiana. That was the core. But he's got a plan also as to who he wants. He has a profile, how old he wants, and in the number of starts. It's an NFL deal. It's why Bo Nix is playing so well for Denver. He had more starts than anybody else. Bartoo told us about that.
Yep.
That's why I think Ty Simpson's going to have a hard time in the National Football League. He only has 15 starts at Alabama. Yep. That's a whole nother discussion for another time. Mm-hmm. Playing games and getting that experience, it's priceless. You can't replace it. Signetti knows he's got to have older, mature guys that he says, number one, will develop you. It's a plan of development. It's in the book, my book, Making a Grade. It's a pod, plan of development. I know Ellis has had guys where he's recruited at different places and they've had a plan of development because the young guy coming in is 17 years old. Well, when you have a 17-year-old freshman versus a 21 or 22-year-old junior senior, there's a lot of things that go on there. You have to figure out, number one, is this kid eating right? Has he been fed properly? Probably not. And I know for sure he hasn't been in the weight program and off-season program that colleges and universities are going to put him through. So what's the growth potential? What's the 6-month plan? What's our fall plan? Back when we could redshirt guys, most of those kids would show up at 6 a.m, 4 days a week with the strength coach and have a weight program just for the redshirt guys. So you had a development program. Now with the transfer portal, I want guys already developed by someone else in college.
Yeah.
I want to bring them in and teach them my system, my technique, my fundamentals. Yeah. And Signetti and his staff, again, continuity, those guys that have been with him, they know what they're looking for. But this article last week on ESPN, guys, if you can read it, pull it up, and it says, I've watched every one of them. That's what Nick did. That's all Saban did. That's why when Nick was really upset when the NCAA didn't allow head coaches to go on the road in the spring. Yeah. He was mad as heck because that was his time to go in and watch a guy because so many schools have spring practice. Yeah. So he told all his coaches 2 things. Number one, get them to the library, get these kids to the coach's office. I want a Zoom call with them. Number 2, make sure they come to our campus at Tuscaloosa for camp. I got to see them, and I got to put it because the defensive back, Ellis knows because he's done it. He put guys through different positions at different drills.
Yeah.
Those D linemen, initial step, hand placement, eye placement. Linebackers, read, react. You getting downhill or you late? DBs, where are your eyes? I mean, with quarterbacks, it's decision making. So the whole plan that Signetti's had, he's not wavering. And you know what? He believes in playing until there's 0-0-0 on the clock. That's why on the block punt, he kind of rolled his eyes and went, I can't believe you didn't get in the end zone, man.
Yeah. Well, let me throw this. And I had people saying the other day, I'm of the opinion, if the other team can't stop you, that's on them. I'm all about good sportsmanship, but it's not running up the score if they can't stop you. If you're playing a lot of your guys, and people try to criticize Steve Spurrier or other coaches for that, I'm like, look, those second and third team guys, if they're out there, you're going to remember if the only time you ever score a touchdown in your life, you're ahead 56-0, you will be able to say to your kids and grandchildren, I scored a college football touchdown in an SEC game. I mean, it gets down to that. Ellis, I've got to ask you real quick before I go to the next question. What were the three things that Mike Dubose would talk to you about defense? It is three things. Someone asked me that, and I said, I know two of them that Ellis said, but give us the whole three again.
Well, the main thing I remember talking about is defense is sight, reaction, and contact. Yeah. Everything, every play, anything, even if you're on a blitz, your sight begins with movement of the ball or movement of a player that initiates your blitz. Yeah. I mean, anything you can think of on defense, sight, reaction, contact. One of his kids in the second said, Coach, what about DB who breaks and intercepts the football? He didn't have any contact. He said, yeah, he did. He had contact with the football. So it's just, it was a great little saying, but more than the saying, he coached it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could see it. They have these little cliches they would talk about. And like he would always say, we don't coach the eyes enough. We don't coach their eyes enough. Yeah. We're coaching their feet. We're coaching their hands. We're coaching their stance. We forget to talk about their eyes. Yeah. So I told him, read is key. It's just a difference in how you say it. Coach their eyes. And not only was it just a cliche, he did it day after day after day. I learned more about coaching on the football field, and I was in my 40s when I got there. I'd been a coordinator at two different colleges. I learned more football on the practice field there in 4 years than the previous 24 years. Yeah. And just being around those guys, I mean, they're just the teaching, and I'm sure they got it from being through Coach Bryant's program.
Yeah, and I don't think, like Pete's referencing, if you don't have a relationship with these people, you don't know them, it's very hard to reminisce with people that you just met 5 minutes ago. I mean, it's you can't do it. All right, I want to ask you, Ellis, quickly, and then back to Pete, what you saw out of Ole Miss and Miami. What is it about Ole Miss that makes you think I know that Ole Miss is going to take that appeal on the extra year of eligibility for Trinidad Chambliss to a court in Mississippi. Then they might even take it and file an injunction. He played in a Division II, which is below junior college. We're giving all these other guys. I don't see how they deny him that opportunity, but the foundation, Pete Golding, what he's got coming back at Ole Miss, how bright is their future with Trinidad or without him?
Well, the amount I read on Trinidad, what a little bit I know, I think his case is a heck of a lot stronger than Pavia. Yeah. So that be what it is. I don't know Ole Miss's roster. We were all praising Pete, about the job he did for those 2 weeks off the field, on the field, the chaos, the interference, the meddling in the program by certain individuals. And the way that team played, I mean, they got beat in that game, but they played well enough to win. It was a close ball game. And, I think the future looks pretty good. I don't know the roster. I think it obviously be a big help for them if they could get that waiver for Chambliss. That'd be a huge help. Yeah. He's going to miss Charlie Weiss. I think the most critical thing Pete does is put his offensive staff together going into this thing, because I think the rest of it, he's obviously got his hands on it. They've probably got a good enough roster just like anybody else, and they've got the money to go in the portal and get what they need. But I'm a little bit not concerned. I don't know what the right word is. My focus is who's he going to bring in there to run that offense and that staff they put together.
Yeah. Pete, hearing that, what Charlie Weiss, he feels very, he owes something to Lane Kiffin, but you just wonder, golly, if you could have just said, hey, but then how much can you throw to him? Because it sets a precedent. Then the next offensive coordinator gets $4 million. But isn't the guy from East Carolina the new offensive coordinator? What do you know about him?
Yeah, he was on the sideline. He was on the sideline during the game. Yeah. Excuse me. He and Frank Wilson both were on the sideline for Ole Miss. Those are the two new additions. But going back to Chambliss, I coached with a guy at Western Michigan by the name of Brian Rock. Brian Rock is the offensive line coach, assistant head coach at Ferris State. He recruited Trinidad to Ferris State. Brian went into Grand Rapids, but he told me this story. He said, Pete, I was at a basketball game to watch another kid. And Chambliss comes out. He's the point guard. He said he must have had 21 assists. And it's like, whoa. Who am I watching here? So he talked to the coach, and they talked to the football coach. He said, oh, that's our quarterback. So they put him on. He got the film. He goes back to Tony Anisi, the head coach, and he said, look at this. And he said, Brian, we got 3 other quarterbacks. He said, I don't really care. He said, Coach, we need this kid. So, again, there's another story. You went to watch another guy on another team, and all of a sudden Chambliss comes in and beats out the other 3. But he did tell me the kid had a respiratory issue his freshman year. And I don't know if it was allergies, what it was, but he was on a lot of medication, and they couldn't determine if he had pneumonia or what it was. So I'm like, Ellis, this kid has a stronger case than Pavia, but they do have the medical documentation. The NCAA said they didn't have enough documentation to give him a favorable ruling. The guy you don't want to compete with is Tom Mars. Tom Mars is going to get this thing done. So I see Chambliss coming back. Now, over the weekend, Deuce Knight committed to Ole Miss. Deuce Knight was here in Nashville at Lipscomb Academy for about a month. Tall, rangy, left-handed quarterback that can spin it. But the other thing is he makes plays with his feet. So whatever happens, you'd love to have the experience of Chambliss coming back. The offensive coordinator from East Carolina has been there for 3 weeks, sitting in the same meetings that Charlie Weiss ran. So there's a relationship with Trinidad. And I'm like Ellis. Coaching matters at all levels. And you know what? Pete's going to have the defensive staff right. He brought a guy that he's coached with before to be the defensive coordinator. They're on the same page. It's that offensive staff that, with Joe Judge being there, the new coordinator, Frank Wilson will do a great job with the running backs. This program is set to move forward. They got a kid from LSU the other day, Kern. He is like 6'7", 305, but he runs 4.9 in the 40. Lane Kiffin, when he found out Kern wanted to leave LSU, held up the paperwork. And Kern went in and said, I'm getting a lawyer unless you let me go. So Kern is going to be a big addition to the offensive line. He is going to be a beast. But all the things are coming together for Pete Golding at Ole Miss between the roster and the coaching staff.
All right, Pete, that is great information. You can't get that anywhere, folks. Sidelines, best guests, best team. Y'all part of this team. I did not know that about Kern. But Tom Mars in Little Rock is the lawyer that made the transfer portal become the law of the land October 15th of 2018. Ellis, staff meetings going on right now. The SEC, the topics today are, Indiana. Who can stop Indiana right now? Also, I want to get into how does the SEC get back? Because the Big Ten, barring Miami just becoming better than Indiana in the next week, I see Indiana. That's going to be 3 straight Big Ten national championships by 3 different teams. 2 of them, the usual suspects. Michigan and Ohio State in that order. Indiana, come on. Next thing you know, I don't know. Pigs will fly. Ellis, staff meetings right now in this Miami-Indiana game. Miami's good. They got talent. The roster on paper is way better than Signetti's. But like Pete said, the 16 guys he brought from James Madison University, and the Indiana fans that I know, they are embracing the lack of respect. It is driving them to do things I think they never thought they would do. How much fun would it be if you were on that staff with Curt Cignetti?
Yeah, I tell you, every game I've watched them, they don't pass the eye test. If you were, just going to pick up your team, you take the other team's kids and believe you got a better bunch and you could outcoach them. And then by the time the game's over, they're fundamentally better, their technique better, they're making less mental errors, they're tackling better fundamentally. I mean, it's just amazing. Now, they got a few guys like Mendoza, and they're better than the other guys. So, they're making some really big time plays. The receiver, Becker, I think his name is, he's unbelievable. Great player, great looking player. But they never pass the eye test when you just look at them, speed and size and all that. But they're the best football team, and then that age factor, I think, has got a lot to do with it. No question about it. I think sometimes we overrate the bowl champions and then the national champion. That doesn't tell you how good the conference is. Yeah. It's not unimportant. Don't get me wrong, but they go 5 or 6 years and nobody in that conference wins it for that length of time. I think you start saying, "What's going on?" But Dave hit it on a few weeks ago. The SEC is still the best conference competitively. I think they're probably still the best high school recruiting conference. They're just losing players that are not starting. They're going somewhere else to play. And they're losing occasionally some that are starting. But I still think it's the best conference top to bottom. It's the most difficult conference to win week in and week out. I think it's the most physical conference. I just don't think when you look at bowl matchups, that's a silly way to compare conferences, that thing to have. And I think who wins the national championship, that's an individual team honor. It's not a conference honor. I think it's overrated.
Well, that's a great point. And what you said about the bowl games, Pete, I tell you, as a fan, you get so disappointed when you wake up traditionally on New Year's Day and you watch your team just get their ass handed to them in the 11 a.m. Outback Bowl or whatever, playing against some Big Ten team that doesn't have anywhere close to the talent on paper. I think you've just got a bunch of babies on a lot of these teams, bunch of guys that were always bigger, faster, stronger than everybody they played against. And then they don't get their way. They don't make the playoff. They don't get in a Super 6 game, and they don't want to try. I will say this. I love Curt Cignetti because that's what I'd want to be like if I was a head coach. And, hey, if you want to hit the portal, dude, I'll hit the button for you. We need more of that. And I see I don't know the Cignetti coaching tree, but I know in 2009, wasn't Curt Cignetti the quarterback coach for Greg McElroy at Alabama? And, he left Alabama. Pete Golding left Alabama. But they learned something a lot from Nick Saban.
Curt was the wide receiver coach at Alabama and on-staff recruiting coordinator.
Okay.
McElroy was the quarterback, but Curt was the wide receiver coach. Right. But he was the on-staff recruiting coordinator as well. And that's why I say he's taken the Saban model everywhere he's been. When he went back to IUP, when he went to Elon, when he went to James Madison, and developed it from there. Wow. But Rob, I got to tell you, everybody's making a big deal about Mendoza going back to Miami. There are 7 guys on the Indiana roster from Florida. 7. And one of them is D'Angelo Pons, the kid who intercepted the ball in the first play of the game, who took it back for the pick 6. But they have 7 guys they've recruited nationally. They got a kid from L.A. They got kids from all over the country. And, again, this is the evaluation process of who fits. Not everybody can play in that system, and he knows that. And he does a great job. It's like Mendoza. I don't know how many people know this. Mendoza was a 3-year letterman in high school on his tennis team.
Mm-hmm.
At Christopher Columbus. And you're going, all right, why does that matter? Think about a tennis player and how agile you have to be in your footwork and the ability to stay in balance.
Yep.
I mean, this kid's 6'5".
Yeah.
Charlie Becker is from here in Nashville, went to Father Ryan High School. But he won the 100-meter hurdles, the 300-meter hurdles. And you know what? This is an important factor in the way Cignetti recruits guys. He wants dual sport athletes.
There you go.
Guys that can do other things. And I just got to believe that when you're going to play Indiana, the adjustments they make, especially now having the iPads on the sideline, you can make real-time in-game coaching adjustments that you've gone over with your guys during the game. Back when Ellis and I were coaching, shoot, I remember taking Polaroids from the press box and having a zip line down to the sideline, and they'd use a clothesline clip, and they'd put the pictures on them, and they'd slide them down. And you're looking at these pictures, and you're going like, when did this happen? Oh, that was happened 2 quarters ago. And it's like, well, why am I seeing it just now?
God.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I think what's happening, and Ellis and Pete, y'all both know this from coaching. Coaching, when you try to coddle or go along to get along, I don't think you get good results. Kurt Cignetti, he's just relentless. He's like a great white shark or a tiger shark. They're never full. And he wins the game. He's up 56 points, and he's mad about that. Tom Osborne was like that. The great coaches, I mean, they'd win 70-7. He'd go, well, we gave up that late score, and I'm concerned about the laps and the defense. We'll have to work on the conditioning, get back in the weight room. Good. Don't ever stop coaching. This stuff, I don't know. You don't want to let up. All right, the state of college football right now. I can't wait to see the numbers. But Doug Dean said this on the show Friday. We had Clark Humble, college football super fan, guys. Y'all got to meet him. We got to all get together in Atlanta and go out with this guy. He's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And he's young guy. He's in his like 61. He's been to every college football venue, all 136 Division I places. He went to 60 in 1 year. And he was at the game Friday night. He lives in Sandy Springs, Atlanta. He was at the game Friday night, and he sent me a picture before the game down on the field with all the coaches and everybody. Then he was with Puddles, the mascot. Puddles, the mascot for Oregon. Puddles was crying puddles of tears. It was rough. I mean, it was really rough. But, Clark goes, I go and I ask for autographs and all. He goes, I'm an easily approachable guy. He goes, I'm a brontosaurus. He goes, I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. I'm not intimidating. I'm like, well, you might be to some people. He's the coolest guy. He's what makes you love college football. So Doug Dean pointed this out Friday. And I said, last year, remember, all the non-CFP bowl games drew an average of 2.7 million viewers. People are like, that's a lot. If you're selling an advertising package, that's a lot of eyeballs. All right, this year, with all the craziness going on, it's like we've been saying on this show. We love the game. Don't confuse us getting mad as fans and coaches and analysts about the portal or NIL. This year, you know what the average is on those non-CFP bowl games? 3.1 million. And thank you, Doug Dean. That's an increase of 13%. So get it out of your head, people. College football, we love it. And if we didn't care about it, want to preserve it and keep this great game around. And thank God for the coaches like Ellis Johnson, Pete Cordelli, the great sports writers like Buddy Martin, who will, on his last breath, be writing a column because he loves it that much. We're going to be all right, people. You got to calm down. It's always darkest before dawn. In 1974, after the market went down 47% in 2 years, the Arab oil embargo and everything, Time Magazine headline, is it the death of the American dream? And look what the stock market did after that. Come on, people. Wake up.
Rob,
Flush out your headgear. It's going to be all right.
Think about this. And I said this a couple weeks ago. The non-playoff bowls, they're spring football right now.
Yep.
We're watching spring football in December. Here's why.
In January.
But here's why. All the opt-outs, all right, that's fine, go. We had kids that had end-of-season surgeries, couldn't go through spring ball. So we're looking at kids we redshirted or coming back from injury. Now you got new kids. The early entry kids, high school guys, they can go practice before those kids before your team goes to a bowl game. So that's important. You got coaches. but we're actually getting to see 15 days of practice before the bowl game at the bowl site. And then you're going against outside competition. And one of the things you tell those kids, we're going to grade this as to where you are going into the spring semester.
Yeah.
Look, your football season, your football team is made in the off season from January through July.
Yeah.
With the off season, your strength coach and all those different things that you're doing, you got to put the core of your team through that. But to have that opportunity to play another game against outside opponents,
yeah,
college bowl games need to stick around for the development of other kids.
Yeah. We went to the Liberty Bowl, guys. I was out there, and I mean, it was pouring down rain. It was cold. It was windy. It was pouring down, but there were a lot of people there. Although I question the mental acuity of so many of those people who were wearing basically Ziploc baggy ponchos that they bought out of a vending machine. If they'd have watched the weather, trust me, you can't turn on the local news without the weather every couple of minutes going, Storm Center 3, it's a beautiful day. Then quit calling it Storm Center 3. It's a beautiful day outside. But I move on from that. But, guys, I know I'm a little bit wound up, but, God, I love college football. I love talking about it. I love the stories. I love the people. And there are so many great stories out there, but without the coaches, without the moms, the dads, the grandparents, aunts and uncles, the coaches, the pastors, the counselors, it ain't going to happen. Where we're going, Ellis, right now, you picked the program. We're going through some adjustments right now. But what's that line in that Sheryl Crow song? It's not having what you want, it's wanting what you've got. God, man, if the guy doesn't want to be on your team, girl doesn't want to be with you, go find another, as they say in the country. Isn't that right, Ellis Johnson from Winsboro, South Carolina?
Yeah, I think Pete hit it on the head. But I do think when the playoffs first started, it drew the real football fans, kind of drew them away from the bowls for a while. And there were guys opting out, and it just kind of turned everybody off. I think now, after 4 to 5 years of it, people are realizing there's still some good games. And so they're tuning back in. I may be wrong about that, but I think it went through its little 3-year withdrawal. And now people are kind of tuning back in on the bowls and watching it for what it is. It's good football. It's not the same guys you saw 2 months earlier, but there's still some really good players out there. And it's entertaining. The other aspect of this whole thing, the health of the game, we talked about it several times. I don't think it's helping kids. And, we don't need to get off on that tangent, but I think we're producing, I guess, a generation, right word, I don't know. But like the ones when they get to the pros, I think the pros are going to start noticing a difference.
Yeah.
These guys are not as committed and not as focused and not going to be able to stay on a challenge the way they would have had they not been able to run away from stuff. So there's that aspect of it. And I'm still not a fan of that part of it, but I think the quality of the football has been affected in a way that there's not as many great teams, but there's a lot more good teams, and all of them got a shot at this thing. That's what's so amazing about what Indiana's doing. Hell, they're kicking everybody's butt 20-something and 30-something points, and there's so much parity in that top level.
Yeah. Well, speaking of
Indiana is second in point differential in the history of college football right now. Wow. Florida State was number 1 under Coach Bowden. I can't remember what year, but Indiana is second. They're like a plus 490. Yeah. The Florida State team was a plus 573. No one's going to catch them there, but Indiana, I agree. Ellis, you're exactly right. I mean, they're not just winning.
Yeah.
They are dominating the way they play the game and winning.
Yeah. Well, let me say this too. Chef Roger Watson, my friend, works for a man up in Indianapolis, huge Indiana fan, walked on and played football there. He's supporting NIL. He's going to be in Miami along with John Hartwell, huge part of our show, one of our partners. And Roger said, he's British, he's a chef. He goes, I'll be glad to come on from the balcony at the Four Seasons and tell you how Indiana will conquer the world. Now, Roger from Manchester, England, is a huge Ole Miss fan. Good friends with the equipment guy, Ken Crane. Roger has 5 Ole Miss helmets on the mantle on his fireplace in his den. He's the trip. He's 17 years old, $50 to his name, took a train from Manchester to London, wanted to be a chef, got hired by a guy that screamed at him and threw food in people's faces. Gordon Ramsay lasted 8 years with him. He is fired up. And he said, what drives the Indiana nation is a lack of respect. Now, I heard a figure, guys, Friday night, 850,000 alumni. Some people drives me crazy. They call them alumni. No, it's alumni. There are no deers and there's no alumni. 850,000 alumni. Now, the bugling of the elk. Hey, let me just say this. I like this guy, Hoosier Dave. Contrary to popular belief, there are football fans outside of the Southeastern Conference. Well, let me tell you what there also is. There's Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix. And let me tell you, he puts together staffs for college and pro teams. He's been doing it a long time. He's got a database of over 15,000 assistant and head coaches going back to 2010. But also, hempforpros.com. That is a company started 7 years ago. Mike Singletary, Harry Carson, those are some of the people who use his products. I can tell you personally, I pulled a muscle, nerve back in my shoulder, tried everything, and I got this roll-on. It's a Hemp for Pros roll-on. You roll on there, it works. And the energy gummies, focus. I'm ADD. What were we talking about? I forgot. But anyway, it does suppress your appetite with me. And the lights out gummies, the chill gummies. My daughter goes, Dad, that guy Dave Bartoo, I love him. You should eat chills and cereal. So anyway, I love this, what he's doing. Dave Bartoo, we talked about it over the weekend, the numbers in college football. You have been right on. And you put you, Ellis, and Pete together. I'm just going to watch. Go ahead. How are you this morning? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing good. Speaking of staffing, did you see Jason Eck out at New Mexico just hired Eric Link as his special team coordinator to New Mexico from Missouri?
Wow.
Two things I want to point out about that. New Mexico now has a 4-star offensive coordinator, 4-star defensive coordinator, 4-star special teams coach. It is the best trifecta of coordinators in the G6 in New Mexico. It's graded better than 5, 6 of the staffs in the SEC. Jason Eck is a name that probably a lot more people are familiar with now, but get used to that guy being around. He is one solid head coach, but I think the surprising thing about that is a guy from the SEC going to New Mexico. And this is kind of a trend I've been starting to see with some of these coaches. If they've made enough money, they start looking for places that have more stability, places that have more upside. Not necessarily the pay, but places that they can get on a good head coach's coattails and ride that for a really long time. Guys are really starting to wake up to this churn, and they're really getting tired of it, and they're gravitating towards stability.
Ellis,
Rob, you may remember Eric was with us at Auburn. He was number 2 special teams guy with Scott Frost. Not Scott Frost. Heck, I've forgotten Scott's last name. But he was
Scott Fountain. Scott Fountain. Yeah.
Fountain. Yeah, my apologies, but Eric was really good. I mean, he was even good then, but he was the number 2 guy.
You know what that tells me, Dave? Hey, Dave, you know what that tells me?
Yes, sir.
There's something going on at Missouri that those guys are leaving. They've had four guys leave now off that staff, and I know one was for a head coaching job, but is Oregon State really a better job than being the offensive coordinator at Missouri? So what that tells me, like you said, the churn, but Drinkowitz is involved in every job that comes open, and you're going, you know what? Stability is the key. And now I can go with Jason Eck, who I believe UCLA wanted to talk to for their head coaching job early on before they hired Chesney. So when you have, it's like the portal. Ohio State's lost 29 players. When college staff start losing guys, there's something going on internally. Watch out. Missouri may be on a downward trend going into next season. That's a red flag right there.
Yeah, Dave, that is.
And I totally agree with Pete. There's always something happens, something. So, whether something is happening, any staff watch any people that know what's going on in soccer, you can kind of get clues that are very stable before.
Right.
Dave, can you reboot and come back in? We're losing you here if you can. Thank you. I got to tell you, University of New Mexico in Albuquerque, the Lobos, pulling guys away from the SEC. We can't live in an echo chamber, guys. And there you go. Ellis, Pete, y'all know. So, I mean, Scott Fountain was a hell and a recruiter, special team. I mean, I remember meeting Coach Paul Davis, who coached at Auburn for a long time, coached at Mississippi State at one point. Paul Davis told me one time at lunch in Sewell Hall, he said, Rob, it takes special players to play special teams. And if you get down to it, special teams are about a third of every game. So we're going to make that a big deal. Dave Bartoo back with us, College Football Matrix. New Mexico, Albuquerque. This is what I love. We can't live in an echo chamber. We've got to be hearing what's going on all over the country. Stability, Dave. Harp back into that, because that's a word, a phrase, a term that most people, it's foreign to them right now.
Well, it is, and it's frustrating for fans. There's very little coaching continuity. There's very little player continuity. Fans used to be frustrated with just the lack of coaching continuity. And I wish I could put a value on it. How important is it when you get a good group of guys together to keep them together? Same thing with the roster. How important is it to get that group of guys together? And obviously that continuity has been shattered over the last few years. And I think fans are frustrated because they can't really get excited about their rosters. They can't get excited about following a player. Following recruiting is useless almost because you don't know if he's going to be there 9 months, 9 years. We got guys petitioning for year 7 and 8 now. So that lack of continuity is all really, really frustrating. And I think in a sea of dysfunction, I do see that we are fine coaches gravitating towards more and more stability. So I agree with Cordelli there. Also about the rats jumping the ship. It's not a Missouri thing, and I'm not saying something's happening at Missouri, but we've all seen it happen afterward, and then we look back and go, oh, there were clues. And I think watching rosters and coaching staffs fall apart for seemingly no reason is a big clue usually.
Dave, you and I were talking Saturday, great discussion about how big these alumni bases are in the SEC and the Big Ten, in the Big Ten. And you said SEC fans need to wake up and realize, I heard 850,000 alumni for Indiana. I thought Florida was big with 500,000. What is it, Ellis?
I heard something on the radio 3 days ago, and it shocks me, but Indiana's got the largest living alumni base right now.
Yeah. Dave kind of talked about what's coming. If people better wake up and quit living in an echo chamber.
Yeah, this is something my co-founder pointed out years ago when NIL started. And he had forecast, he goes, if it comes down to money, the Big Ten's going to win, because the SEC might have a little bit more TV money, but they do not have the alumni base, not even close to it. They don't have the income per fan, not even close to it. It's not just a big alumni base. It's the wealth of the alumni base. And you look across the board in Penn State, Michigan, USC, UCLA, Ohio State. I mean, these are the biggest alumni bases in America. They absolutely dwarf the SEC. And not only do they dwarf the SEC in numbers, they dwarf the SEC in average as well. You know, I mean, it is across the board a massive advantage. And so many fans get caught up in the thought that, oh, well, there's going to be a $20 million cap per school. That's not for outside influence. Okay. You know, if everybody has a $20 million cap internally, but there's no external cap, that's what unlevels the playing field, right? That's what unlevels the playing field 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, is bags of cash. So, and I said this when NIL started, paying the players is not about paying the players. It's about making an uneven playing field for your own advantage. So it doesn't matter what the cap is, 5 million, 10, 20, 100 million. However you level the playing field, somebody externally is trying to tilt it in their favor. That's the way it works. So really all we've done is just allowed players to go anywhere they want, but the field and the leveling and unleveling of it hasn't changed at all.
Well, you know,
I'm going to tell you, hey Dave, I'm going to tell you a story about a Big Ten school, and this is back in the mid '80s. In the mid '80s. First time this staff ever got together, their most famous alum walked in 1983-4 and said, "Men, welcome to so-and-so staff. We're glad you're here. Remember this, if you have an issue that money can solve, we don't have any issues because we got enough money. Go get them." And you know what?
Yeah.
They did. They went and got them. That was long before NIL. So if you have an issue that money can solve, and this is from a Big Ten guy, go get them.
Yeah. I mean, and you're pointing out, Dave, your comments, and Ellis, you'll jump in. What people better wake up to is now Mark Cuban is excited about Indiana, but he was before. And I'm not going to mention some other people. One that I know of, it's a global finance guy. My God, they're excited about it. People getting caught up in the recruiting. What does it mean when is Webster's is announcing today at noon that the word commitment will be removed from the dictionary because it means nothing anymore. I mean, Ellis, jump in here with Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix. By the way, folks, if you got trouble sleeping with pain, aches, hempforpros.com. It's natural. I'll tell you what, I used to like to drink a few beers, especially during hunting season. I don't need them. I take a chill gummy. I'm just chill and losing a little bit of weight. I love it.
Don't be mixing gummies without hunting now.
No, absolutely not. Ellis, jump in here.
Well, and when all this stuff first started, I thought back, Pete, now about the
holy shnikes, Ellis. Well,
the gummies jumped in. The gummies jumped in.
No, I think he was going to rat somebody out. I think Greg Sankey got him. He was about to tell a story. I got him.
Ellis, come on, start from scratch. Take two.
Back at that period, for different reasons, the biggest financial entity back then was the Roast Bowl. Okay, the money that was generated off of that. It seems silly now, but TV wasn't what it was back then. And I mean, if you'd go in and look at the TV, hell, it might be Washington and Wisconsin playing. Clemson and South Carolina never played on TV until almost 79 or something like that. It's just a different time, but the factor of who's got the money was the same. And I don't want to see it go back to that because there were like 20 schools that ran college football with their dominance. Yeah. And frankly, it wasn't really even a good game to watch. It was like watching NFL in a third week. So I saw this coming. What they've done is the people who are benefiting from it, they've legalized it because it was legalized back in that day. And then all of a sudden, TV, cable TV, streaming, everything got everybody on TV, and everybody, especially in the South, they caught up. And their brand of football was a little more entertaining. And for a long time there, everything was pretty much, on the field and not somewhere in a boardroom. It's going the other way now. It's just going to come down to who can buy the players.
Hey, Rob.
And I still say it's going to hurt college football.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, Ty Simpson came out this past week on Wednesday and declared for the NFL draft. His dad, longtime coach at UT Martin, was in on the discussions with Kalen DeBoer. Yeah. Yesterday, Sunday, he declared on Wednesday. Got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 days later, Coach Simpson got a call from a school saying, "Hey, we'll offer Ty $6.5 million for 1 year if he comes."
Oh.
Yesterday. Now, Coach Simpson said, "Let me talk to Ty." And it's one of the schools that's going to play on Monday night, and it's not in Indiana. So anyway.
Oh, okay. Let me throw it. All right.
Yesterday, 4 days after the kid declares for the NFL draft, Miami offered the Simpson family $6.5 million for 1 year.
No, it's about the same way they did it with what's his name is playing now.
Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Dave, let me say something. Ellis just said it about legalizing it. Remember, I was up on the Spring River trout fishing with one of my buddies from Alabama as he was having him a cocktail on the Spring River, and he said that song "Legalize It" was playing, and I said that wasn't Marley, that was Peter Tosh. But that's what's happened. Legalize it. But anyway, Dave, this is some earth-shattering stuff to a lot of people who are living in caves. Folks, this keep preaching, man. You're waxing eloquent. This is brilliant.
Yeah, no, and we don't know which way it ultimately is going to go. But once you start turning big ships, it's really hard to turn them back around. We're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube, because I hear fans a lot. "Oh, I just want it back to the way it was." No, that's capitalism, baby. We have no traditions. Everything is for sale. Then it gets destroyed and somebody builds something somewhere else. But what you had in the past, that tradition, it's been sold. It's being destroyed. It's not coming back. Okay. That's just the harshest reality of it. So you have to figure out how to live in this new capitalist college football. But we all don't know which way it ultimately is going to go. The one thing I hope for is a little bit more continuity, a little bit more stability. Before I came on, I kind of got a feeling everybody was talking about SEC talent, SEC overrated this and that, and the talent's still there. It's just that the talent isn't at one spot consistently. The NFL draft is still going to show that the SEC has more talent, but I think maybe people are going to start waking up that coaching stability, and we talked about this on the last show. All of our semifinalists had 3+ years of coaching stability. Almost none of them turned anything over. And I know people are going, "Dave, what about Ole Miss?" They had 5 years of Lane and that whole culture. I know he wasn't there, but look, that culture gets built into that system over time. It doesn't just evaporate because the guy left the building. It'll take a few years for Lane's effect to fully wear off of that program. So if I'm a fan, I would say when you start talking about a coach in his first and second year, you got to start taking a bigger breath. And I think programs need to start waiting a little longer for results, because the portal doesn't fix anything instantly. You like to try to point to one or two examples, but overall, it is not a quick fix. It is a poor patch. And I think fans are going to have to learn to be more patient with bad records and longer ramp ups to get to where they want to go and get that coaching stability in place.
Hey, Dave, can I ask you one thing on capitalism?
Yes.
This Sunday in Miami, the commissioners and Pete Pavakwa are meeting about expanding the playoff to 16 teams, and there's another plan to go to 24. But the two guys holding it up are Sankey and Petiti. But they're having a meeting this Sunday in Miami, and they have to make a decision by the middle of February, or else we go to 12 again next year in 2026. What do you think from the capitalism standpoint that you said What do you think will happen in that meeting?
It'll depend on how big the bag of money is to pay those guys to vote it into 16, right? It's just influence. Tell me I'm wrong, right?
No,
how much influence is there? Now the flip side, the other two guys, have they already made enough money? See, we start talking about percentages too, right? If somebody offers you $100,000 a year raise and you're making $100,000, wow, hell yeah, man, I'm in for it. But over time, if you keep getting $100,000 raises, like a lot of these guys, I mean, you have athletic directors making what, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, right? And pretty soon, oh, hey, I'll give you $100,000 raise. I'm already making 1.6. That's not worth the trouble. That's not worth the trouble. Look at it as a percentage. So look at the guys holding it back. They've already got their bag, right? They got their bag. So that carrot, that monetary incentive isn't worth the headache to them relative to what they're already being paid. So, hopefully there's a ceiling of resistance there that balances out how much money can be paid versus making change quickly over it.
Gotcha.
Hey, Ellis, and we just heard a second ago, Ty Simpson offered $6.5 million to come 1 year to Miami. Now, I watched Brock Purdy and the 49ers play yesterday. They won with the Eagles. And you think about Brock Purdy's rookie contract was $600,000. He had to have a roommate. I don't know where he was living in the Bay Area. He probably could have lived in Tent City or something for $600,000 a year. But anyway, it's expensive living out there. And now he's got his new contract, and he's doing quite well. But man, Pete, by the way, what did Ty Simpson do? Can he pull out of the draft?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He can pull his name out of the draft because we're not at the date where he's got to declare for sure. But let me tell you something about Miami.
He just committed to the draft.
Yeah. Miami. How about this one? Miami doesn't share any of this college playoff football revenue with anybody in the ACC. They get to keep every penny. They're bringing home $24 million. So I don't know who the hell's running the ACC where you're not sharing any of the bowl revenue, but Miami's getting $24 million. So 6.5 for a quarterback? Hello?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Ellis, what about it? I mean, you're a head coach right now. You've got to be. You're now, as a head football coach, you're like an options trader or a money manager. You're just buying and selling stocks left and right, holding positions, doing some tax harvesting, doing window dressing at the end of every quarter. It's BSC, man. And you know what that stands for? Bat split crazy. In the interest of women and children.
Quick comment. The reason the ACC is so screwed up is they still got basketball coaches running it. And that's who screwed up their TV contract. Now, he's long gone now, but that damn TV contract they're tied up in, I mean, it's ridiculous. And they thought for so many years, that basketball up and down the Eastern Seaboard was strong enough on TV to carry that conference. And now football's the sport, guys. We all know that now.
Yeah.
As far as demanding TV and money and all that. And the ACC painted their ass in a corner, and they're in trouble. Yeah. And it's because of these damn basketball schools. And that, that's their problem now. I don't know if they're going to be able to dig out of it or not.
Dave? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think to tie all this discussion together with money and we touched on coaches leaving and everything. I think one of the big things I just got epiphany on it is when Indiana re-signed Curt Cignetti for $12.5 million a year. Kind of threw me off. I thought he would go somewhere else, but maybe he's telling us that he already knows that Indiana is top 10 in money. And he knows that he doesn't have to go anywhere else to get top 10 in players now. And even though he's a mid-30s, low-30s recruiter, low-30s portal guy, that's about to change. And maybe he's telling us that, yeah, Indiana was a basketball school, but we now have the money to be a football school. I don't need to go anywhere else because I have more than enough money here to compete long term. I think that's kind of what my brain is taking away from all of this right now.
Absolutely it is. And it basically, everything has changed now. The paradigm has shifted. And if you're not on board with it, you're a dinosaur. You're going to go the way of the Bachman's warbler, the ivory-billed woodpecker, and the dodo bird. All extinct species. By the way, there are no ivory-billed woodpeckers.
All those ducks you shot yesterday that left at halftime from the Oregon game and just had a resting place, and you guys got advantage of it shooting all those ducks.
I know.
Every time I come on this show, I learn something. Today, I learned that the Oregon duck is Puddles.
Yeah.
I learned who Puddles is. Hell, I had no clue.
Hey, Dave, college football superfan Clark Humble was on the show with us Friday. You got to meet this guy. He's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He's our age. He went to all 136 Division I football venues, 60 in 1 year. And he was at the game Friday. He lives in Atlanta. And he was there on the sideline with Puddles, the duck, the mascot of Oregon. Dan Lanning, he's madder than a wet hen. You know he is. And he'll dig down. But God bless America. The passion that we have for college football. Now you're going to have fan bases. They're going to start doing whatever they got to do. They'll have blood drives to raise money for NIL in the South. I mean, I see it coming. And I also see what you said. I like the comment about Signetti. Maybe it's because he already knows their top 10 money. You know, the people that know what they're doing, if you've ever talked to anyone that's ever been involved in a military operation, you telegraph almost the exact opposite of what you're about to do. You don't let people know that you're coming. What's going to happen in college football, guys? Well, I know we're a little bit long today, Brendan, if it's okay, a couple of minutes. College football, where are we going to be in 5 years? How crazy is it going to be? Are we going to have rosters on, CNBC and Fox Business? Now we're going to have the college business, CBN College Business Sports Network, because we're going to be at the tip of the spear on that stuff, guys. It's coming. Capitalism 101. Dave, I mean, is it crazy?
No, it's maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I just hope it stays more of a separate game than the NFL. I'm not a big fan of the NFL. There's no upsets. There's no tradition. No bans. There's everything that I like about college football is not in the NFL. But as we try to homogenize college football, the big corporates try to homogenize football into the NFL. It just turns me off as a fan, and I just hope that it doesn't go too far down that path.
I'm up before sunrise.
Indiana got their quarterback in the portal. The Hoover kid from TCU, he's a hell of a player. He's the first kid Josh Heupel called when Nico left. And Hoover said, no, I'm going to stay at TCU. And I'm going to tell you, the tradition of good quarterbacks going through Sig's offense, Hoover's going to take over, and they're not going to skip a beat. I mean, Mendoza's done a great job. But I'm going to tell you, their quarterback spot next year, they're not regressing at all at quarterback. And Indiana continues to do a great job in the portal, even though they're in the playoffs. I mean, that just tells you how the organization is working, and it's working so well.
Yeah, Ellis, one more question for Dave or comment, whatever, and then we'll let Dave say parting word. We'll wrap it up. Ellis?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry. No, I was speaking way too fast. About what Pete just said and Davis just said, capitalism 101. It's coming, and you've got to have a trader mentality like a stock trader.
Yeah, I mean the money is all these things we're talking about. The old expression, just follow the money. Money always wins. You talk about developments taking over nice, beautiful countryside. Hell, I mean, you can keep it out for a while, but if somebody wants that land, they're going to build houses. They're going to get it sooner or later.
Yeah.
Just like building down on the coast. I've watched our South Carolina coastline. Money eventually wins. And that's what's going to happen in college football. And I'm like Dave, and I think everybody on this show, I don't like it, what it's doing to college football. And it's not going to change the entertainment factor too much, I don't think. But I think it's damaging the sport. I don't have any question it's damaging most of the players.
Yeah, it is. And Dave, I think when the guys get to the NFL, a lot of them are making more than the rookies. If you were in the NFL, you got paid NIL money, and they're making more than a lot of these rookies do. And I think they're coming in fat and happy, staring at their phone, looking at their mobile banking app, seeing how much money they got. That's what I'm worried about. And I think a hungry player, what did Mario Gabelli say? Give me PhDs, poor, hungry, desperate, people that want to make money, not people that were born on third base and thought they hit a triple.
Yeah, well, until it starts affecting the NFL product,
yeah,
and that may be the long term, you need an NFL product being affected for the NFL to jump in and make a change. That might be the only way that you stabilize all this.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. The NFL's got to say the product you're sending us. We're at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse or Folks Folly Steakhouse, and you're sending us shoe leather and charging expensive prices. That's all right, guys. Great show today. College Football Matrix, hempforpros.com, folks. Hempforpros.com. Dave, tell them quickly how they can get hold of you.
Well, number one, use coupon code Sidelines for anything for 25% off everything in your cart. Pros.com, Pro Athletes Association. Like Rob said, it was a conjunction with NFL Alumni Association, and we make products for aches, pains, and sleep.
Yeah, well, and you make the best in the country. And look, guys, thank you so much. Awesome discussion, Coach Pete Cordelli. Check it out. Get it, Making the Grade. This is a book that you will want to read, How to Become a Great College Football Player. Ellis Johnson, the whole panel for executive producer Brendan Martin. Thank you all so much. And remember, support our sponsors. Get out to LandersFordMemphis.com. Poplar and Houston Levy open every day of the week except Sundays. The day means more than the dollar. That's what they said at Sag's Big and Tall Shop in West Memphis and Marion for over 100 years. And look, you get out there, ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager. These are the best corporate partners we've ever worked with. Their name is everywhere. They put back into the community. Love these people. Brad Bellamy, LandersFordMemphis.com. Hewlett and Dunn, right down the street on the historic square. Barber, Filson, all your great clothing. Men's and women's boots open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m., 6 p.m. Rumble Boxing Gym, Union and McLean. How you fight is how you live. Most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. Go out and make something great happen today. Again, for executive producer Brendan Martin, Rob Browne, thanks for watching. Share us and like us. We'll see you tonight.